What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another news video. As always, there's lots of happenings in the wrestling world, and whilst we won't cover every little tidbit, let's look at the main headlines as number 1, us fans changed a WWE storyline and actually got a wrestler pushed. When will we see Bray Wyatt again? Ray's son Dominick could be making his wrestling debut, why WWE brought back the King of the Ring tournament, AEW confirms its first world title defense, and Dolph Ziggler wants out of WWE, but Vince is refusing. But let's get into the first bit of news, as we WWE fans changed a WWE storyline and got a wrestler pushed by accident. Now, wrestling's best kept secret Buddy Murphy officially joined the Blue brand during the Superstar shakeup this year. Regardless of the big move, apart from 2 dark matches with Mustafa Ali, he hadn't made his official televised debut until the 6th August edition of SmackDown Live, when Roman Reigns confronted Murphy in the locker room and tried to get any information of who his attacker might be. Murphy told Reigns that he didn't know anything, and even if he did, he wouldn't tell him, which led to a beatdown backstage. When pinned against the wall, Murphy admitted he saw Eric Rowan in the area, which led to Rowan giving him a beatdown at SummerSlam during his match with Cedric Alexander, stating "snitches get stitches." Because of his involvement, Murphy has been catapulted up the roster, and he even managed to wrestle top star Roman Reigns this week. And believe it or not, it wasn't even a squash match. However, the main reason for his involvement is simply down to the eagle-eyed fans who spotted Murphy in the background during the Attack segment 2 weeks ago, and WWE took the idea and ran with it. According to Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer Radio, WWE had no intention to insert Murphy into the storyline until fans started to notice the man in the background walking away, assuming it was Buddy Murphy and he was the attacker. It just goes to show WWE had no idea where this storyline was heading and continues to write parts of the story every week. Let's hope it has a good payoff. Our next story looks at when we'll see Bray Wyatt again. It's no surprise that WWE wants to use Bray Wyatt sparingly, as yesterday we reported WWE wants to keep the mystique of his character similar to The Undertaker, and if he were to appear every week on either Raw or SmackDown Live, they would overexpose him and the gimmick will grow stale much quicker. We didn't see Wyatt on this week's Raw or SmackDown Live following SummerSlam, but originally, according to wrestling's new worst enemy Brad Shepard, Bray Wyatt was backstage and was ready to do a segment, but it was written out during the show. He tweeted, "Bray Wyatt was backstage Tuesday for WWE SmackDown Live yesterday and was originally scheduled to appear as The Fiend on TV. He was written out of the show during the rewrite. So when will we see him again? Well, Wyatt is confirmed for next week's Monday Night Raw in St. Paul, Minnesota, and the 26th August edition of Raw in New Orleans. We wonder what WWE has in store for him next." Moving on, Ray's son Dominick may be making his wrestling debut soon. Before his injury, Ray was in an explosive feud with Samoa Joe, where Joe even delivered an intimidating message to Ray's son. There were initially plans of having him at ringside with Ray for his title match at WrestleMania 35, but those plans were nixed at the last minute and we haven't seen him since. Ray's son has been training in Lance Storm's wrestling school, and we could see the 21-year-old make his official wrestling debut soon, as WWE officials backstage reportedly want him to wrestle and be involved in Ray's storyline against Andrade. However, at the moment, he is not ring ready, but WWE hopes to get him trained up in time soon enough. Moving on, let's look at why WWE brought back the King of the Ring tournament. It's been 4 years since the last King of the Ring tournament was held, with Bad News Barrett fighting through the likes of Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth and Neville in the finals to become King Barrett. WWE put the tournament on the back burner, but it's finally brought back the illustrious tournament, where the finals will be decided at Clash of Champions. WWE has also confirmed its 16 participants, and possibly had one superstar in mind, possibly being the main reason why they brought back the tournament in the first place. As even though many speculate that either Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre are strong contenders for the crown, it seems that WWE have had the idea of bringing back the King moniker for Ricochet, a name used on the independent scene for some time, hence why they brought back the tournament, as this could elevate Ricochet even further. It's not really a surprise, as recently Ricochet has enjoyed an incredible push on the Red brand, and many believe that Heyman is extremely high on him, where we could even possibly see the Universal Championship around his waist. Don't forget the first round of the tournament begins next week on Raw, the second round on the 26th, the semi-finals on the 10th September Raw, and the finals at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view. Next up, some AEW news as they confirm its first world title defense. The first ever AEW World Champion will be decided at All Out, and it'll either be Chris Jericho or Adam Page. However, even before they've crowned a champion, AEW has wasted no time in making its first title defense on its third TNT episode. The lineup so far for the Wednesday, October 2nd premiere episode at the Capital One Arena in Washington DC sees Jon Moxley appearing live, Cody Rhodes vs Sammy Guevara, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega vs Chris Jericho and two mystery partners, and the first ever AEW Women's Champion will be crowned. The following episode on October 9th at the Agnes Arena in Boston sees Jon Moxley vs Shawn Spears and the Young Bucks vs Private Party in the AEW Tag Team Titles Tournament match. The third episode, set in Philadelphia, will see the first AEW World Title defense involving either Chris Jericho or Adam Page versus an opponent to be confirmed. And our last story of the day looks at Dolph Ziggler wanting out of WWE, but Vince refusing it. Now, the question of Dolph Ziggler leaving the WWE has been asked more times than Michael Cole shouting out, "Here comes the big dog," whenever Roman Reigns steps onto the stage. The reason it's been asked so many times is because Dolph is one of the many wrestlers in WWE with irregular pushes for many years. Many thought 2019 would finally be the day that Dolph rejects any further offers from WWE, and finally gives the middle finger to Vince McMahon to stick it to him and says he's worth more to the company than they perceive. Dolph took some time away from the WWE to concentrate on his career as a stand-up comedian, but then rumours began to flare up that his hiatus turned into a departure from the company as reports surfaced of him rejecting a role as a backstage producer. Dolph even changed his social media profile to his real name Nick Nemeth, which in WWE can only lead to two things: either he's done with the company, or he's working us all. Ziggler appeared as the 28th entrant in the 2019 Royal Rumble, with a pretty abysmal showing, and then went back into obscurity. He later returned to face Kofi Kingston at WWE Super Showdown event in Saudi Arabia. But why the one-off? Well, Ziggler explained that even though he's technically not under contract, a handshake agreement exists with Vince, as he told Wrestling Inside the Ropes, "Technically I am, yes. It's weird because for the last 2 years, I've had somewhat of a handshake agreement, a kind of behind closed doors deal with WWE. I've been able to do a lot of things on my own, not at WWE, just because of the relationship we've had for the last 14 years. So I have a bit of a handshake agreement right now, and we'll know some more details in the coming months." It seems that despite his absence, Dolph was catapulted straight into the main event, fighting for the WWE Championship from Kofi Kingston. Things look good as Dolph had not been seen in the title picture since 2018's Fastlane pay-per-view, where he was a participant in the Six-Pack Challenge. Did Vince have faith in Ziggler once again to become WWE Champion? Well, not really, as Ziggler was just seen as a substitute to Kevin Owens, who sat out the event in protest for best friend Sami Zayn. The two would go on to feud with each other for a few weeks, and he also entered a program with Kevin Owens before going on an anti-legend crusade dissing the likes of Shawn Michaels and Goldberg. He called them all out, but Goldberg would be the one to answer the call and Ziggler would be destroyed by him at SummerSlam, delivering not one, but two devastating spears. After being used as cannon fodder to wrestling legends, it seems that Dolph has had enough, as Bodyslam.net reported that Dolph Ziggler had a deal that he would work through SummerSlam, with Monday Night Raw being his final date. It's then believed that Vince would have granted him his release. However, Vince refused. It was noted, on Monday prior to Raw, Dolph approached Vince McMahon to thank him. However, it was then that Vince told Dolph that he could not let him out of his deal, and he would rather just pay him to stay home. It seems that Dolph wants to work on other projects, which could either mean his stand-up routine, or maybe like Jon Moxley, he wants some fresh new surroundings where he would be appreciated. Cody recently spoke on AEW revealing only 40% of their roster, so perhaps he was in talks with them. Now this is purely speculation though, but judging on how he's been booked over the past couple of years, who would blame him for trying to get out of a company that effectively buried him last Sunday? AEW boasts of a lighter schedule, so perhaps this would be a fantastic opportunity for Dolph to keep his two career paths going. However, what is the point of Vince not wanting to release him and simply let him sit at home, presumably joining Luke Harper, who's also sitting the rest of his contract out? Well, it's pretty simple. Vince just doesn't want to give his competition the upper hand until he can't help it. Vince McMahon has become a serial hoarder, keeping all the talent for himself but locking most into 5-year contracts, but not utilizing them enough. Most have been twiddling their thumbs backstage for the past few weeks, whilst with others like the Clones and the Ascension, even we were surprised to find out they are still under the WWE's payroll. It is interesting to note, however, that even though Ziggler wanted out of his contract after SummerSlam, WWE have advertised him to be part of a triple threat championship match between him, Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton for SmackDown's 20th anniversary show on 4th October. Will plans change now? Do you guys think that Dolph Ziggler should go to AEW, or should he give WWE one final chance? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.